All right. Good day, everyone. We're going live, and we're giving you guys a little bit of value, you guys on Facebook. If there's anybody that has any questions, you can put them on there. I've got Zach in the background, and you guys have the opportunity to get signed up and view the rest of the Zoom class as well. And let me put this on real quick. We're going to be going over the brain, power of the brain, and what does the brain mean? And this seminar that we're doing, it's to advance the consciousness of your awareness. And a lot of people think whenever we talk about the brain, we're talking about the energy that's moving you, and it's not. And we're going to go into all that. For some of you guys that are new, we're an Institute of the Mind, and we help people develop themselves to go beyond where they've ever been. And this is the only way that you can learn to achieve your goals, become who you want to become, and have a better, happier, healthier, wealthier life. It's about learning more. And a lot of us, we're never taught that we are never supposed to stop learning. And that's why we're here. We're also here, we have a goal, and that's to establish an Institute of the Mind in every country. And we already have one in Tehran, Iran, and we are working towards Lima, Peru right now. So this goal it's in movement, and you guys have the opportunity, if you're in our Lubbock area, to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself is what brings value back to yourself. When you invest in changing your mindset, developing your mindset, you're going to learn more about yourself than what you knew before. And as you begin to learn and adapt to the changes that you have to adapt to become somebody different. You will be somebody different. If you keep using the knowledge and information that you have, you can only keep producing more of what you know. You can only keep producing more of what you know. I've worked with people with degrees. I've worked with 2-year degrees, 4-year degrees. I've worked with masters, doctorates. And nobody really understood that the minute you stop learning, developing yourself, you've gone as far as you can go. Unless you're willing to still go learn and develop yourself beyond what you know. When you reach the limit of what you know, you're going to keep repeating the same day over and over again. Because this is the way the mind works. Once you've reached the limit of what you know, you keep grouping those ideas, desiring to be and to go somewhere different. It's not going to work. Now think about how many years you've been doing that. The real question is, how many more months and years do you want to keep doing that? And that's why we're here. We know that as human beings are being born every second. A child is born and an adult leaves. We know that all we have is what we have at this time in the amount of years that we're here. And it's very important to give everybody the opportunity to advance and to live a better life. And this is the reason we're doing this. If you're born in poverty or you're born in rural areas and you don't have that opportunity, you a lot of times you feel stuck, or you feel like you didn't get that opportunity, or you're missing that opportunity. Well, that's what we're here for. And we're here to help people go beyond and achieve and to have the life they desire. I came from not complete poverty, but it was not. We were barely getting by, and I remember always wanting, looking around, and I always wondered why is it that we're always with less or barely making it. I remember opening up the refrigerator. Years is always the same. You open the refrigerator, there's nothing there. And what was there was just enough for the meal that was made, no more. And the community we lived in was more or less the same. And I always wondered what was wrong. And I was looking for the truth for so many years. What is the truth? And I would hear the truth out of each individual, and they would tell me their truth. And I would look at the results, and they were right. So this went on to a long study, investigation, and also a personal study on myself, and a personal looking for the truth. It was something that it was innate in me. At a young age, I knew that I was a consciousness. I was spirit in a body. 2 years, 7 months, I knew that I was spirit in a body. And I wanted to understand who we are and why we're here and what is my purpose. So through this process, I did a lot of research and a lot of study, and I began to develop myself and change my world, change my family's world, and change my reality. And that's why we're here. We're here to give back. Zach, can you grab a couple of books from Autumn's room, please? We're going to start with the brain, and we're going to start with the introduction of the brain. And a lot of us, when we talk about the brain, we think that this is it, right? We think of the brain as the thing that's moving us. And I want you to take a look at this. Take a look at your hand. You look at your hand and you see it. We don't say, am hand. We say, I have a hand. And as you move your fingers, you know that you are moving these fingers, right? And even as doctors or school teachers or family members, they're saying, look, he's getting hand-eye coordination. And we look at the child, oh, he's getting hand coordination. And we look into their eyes, and they're looking at their hand. They're saying, my God, wow, they're figuring out, well, whoa, what is this? And they're figuring out this hand is connected to them. And they're becoming aware, their consciousness is becoming aware that they have a hand. And as you look at your hand, I want everybody to look at their hand, and you say, I am in control of this hand, and you know you are. But here was the thing, this brain is not getting hand-eye coordination, nor are these eyes. The consciousness is getting brain, eye, and hand coordination. This is awareness. You see, scientists all over the world have already, they've already demonstrated this. They can measure the unit of a body, and they can measure that it's thinking, and it's not only thinking up here, it's thinking here, and it's thinking here, and it's thinking on its toe. So this field of consciousness is flowing through this body, and this field of information is flowing to and through the body, and they can pick up the vibration, the energy that's thinking at every area of the body, surrounding the body. Now, so this means this consciousness that's thinking, it's alive, is what's giving life to the brain, to these eyes and this hand. Now, this is awareness. Now, we don't sit there and tell the child, oh my gosh, so beautiful, you're perfect. Look, you're getting hand, your consciousness, your spiritual consciousness is becoming aware of itself, and it is getting hand and eye coordination. And that is the highest part of your personality. And as you begin to advance that and become and think more than what you know and advance that consciousness, you can do anything you want in life. This is awareness, but we don't speak like that. We don't even understand this. You see, when you think, you don't even watch what you're thinking about. Your brain is just this and that, and it's just an automatic. But when you're not aware, it's just automatically running. Who's running? Who's running this body? When we look at this picture, and I want to give thanks to my daughter Autumn. She's doing the graphics on this, and such a beautiful art she's done. This is hand drawn on the computer, well designed. Understanding the mind. What is the mind? The mind is something we don't see. The mind is something that is connecting to the brain, to the body, sending signals, and we're on a movement. We're taking off. And a lot of us think, well, this energy, this mind is energy. This mind is unseen. The mind functions in two forms. And here we're going to go, and I'm going to go through it briefly. We've done this before. Some of you may be new to it. Dr. Thurman Fleet gave us this image back in 1934, and he gave us the image of the stick person, and he done that to bring awareness. Now, this is not exactly the way it is, but it gives us an illustration so we can understand the way energy works. And the better idea we have of the way energy works, the better idea we have of ourselves. And this is the biggest issue, is we don't understand ourselves. So Dr. Thurman Fleet came up with this image. Now, I've tweaked it a little to advance it a little so that we get a better understanding. And when we say conscious mind, this is your intellect. And then we talk about the subconscious mind, which is in the lower half of this line. And in your subconscious mind is a filing cabinet. And this is where I bring in universal intelligence in this other filing cabinet. Now, when we talk about the mind, we're talking about an energy and a power that's moving. And the better you understand this power that's moving, that's thinking, the better you're going to understand yourself so you can change yourself. We have these senses. These are the antennas. We pick up information from the senses. Right now, y'all can hear me. Right now, we live over here in the physical world. Right now, you're picking up the information that I'm saying because you're picking up the words of the vibration of the words that I'm saying. And as you pick up the words that I'm saying, it's sending a signal. And as this signal comes, this is the raison d'etre of the whole thing. So we don't see this, but this vibration is humming, and it's vibrating, and it's thinking. We don't see that. But as you think, you're resonating, vibrating. I say dog, cat, refrigerator, TV. You go into the subconscious mind, which you could go into universal intelligence, but the average individual does not go there. The average individual keeps going to their hard drive. And they pick up the image, and here it comes flashing onto the screen of their mind. The idea is formed. Ideas come on, flashing the screen of mind. If I say dog, cat, refrigerator, TV, computer, every time you're living out here, this thing is thinking. This energy never stops, and if it ever stops, you flatline, you're off to another place. The energy that's connecting to this is a system. That is the body. We don't see this part working. We live out here in the physical world, and what we can see, hear, taste, touch, smell, but we never go inside. It's rare somebody goes inside. They're normally just looking objectively at what we see, hear, taste, touch, smell, what we look at, and we think that's all there is, but it's not. This is the movement before you see the physical world. Now, as we think, there's this power that's flowing into your consciousness. Now, I didn't make this up. I've been studying. I didn't make any of this up. I've been studying how energy works so that I can understand why I'm getting the experiences that I'm getting, so that I can have a better understanding of how we work. Now, there is this power that just is. It just is. But somewhere along the line, it is transformed. When and where does it transform? Look, I'm going to say it right now. The brain has no life and no power. Your brain has no life and no power. It's a dumb terminal. What gives that brain life and power? Scientists have known they can measure that there's this energy, and a lot of people call it's spirit. Soul consciousness. This spirit, this essence, is the thing that gives it life. All they know or they really talk about is the minute it's gone and it cannot connect to that brain and that body, immediately the brain and the body begin to disintegrate immediately. They also know if a child is born, the reason the child is born is because the mother's spirit was giving it life. And the minute the baby comes out and is no longer connected to the mother's energy, it's time for that energy in the child to connect. And if it doesn't connect immediately, that little baby is stillborn. And what happens? The brain and the body go back to Mother Earth immediately. It doesn't get to transpire through time to age in existence, right? So we'll say this is the present. We came into a physical body. So here we have this energy. It's falling down, it's coming in. And as we look at this energy that's coming in, it doesn't have a choice. It must enter into the body. And what is it entering into? DNA. DNA has code. So we're going to be talking about two forms of coding. Genetic coding, genetic programming. And that's why we look like our family members. So here we have this, here comes essence, but it's going to give life to DNA. From who? Well, the father and the mother. Right? And who gave them theirs? So this information is how old? We can just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. But this essence, when it comes in, it comes into also an environment. So now we have the DNA, RNA, and then we have the environments. This is the environments programming now. So we say that this child came in 1400 AD. Does that not distinguish a completely different surroundings today? And let's say it came into a Russian family. Or let's say Asian. Or let's say Caucasian. Or let's say Indian. Every one of these different programs, do they not distinguish different ways of thinking of itself according to the people that are educating them? Who said what race was? I hear people all the time talking about their race. Well, you know how they are. And all these ideas are just passed along. So here, this child, or this essence comes into a child. It has no ability to reject, and it accepts the what? The environment. You, me, my parents, everybody had no choice. What do? The little child begins to look, begins to become aware, and that consciousness connects itself to the brain. That consciousness begins to set up firing and wiring neural pathways. How is it firing and wiring neural pathways? Because it is connecting itself with the environment, what it sees, what it hears, what it tastes, what it touches, what it smells, and it's becoming to download the what? The hard drive, the program. And as that child is beginning to just absorb all of this information, it has no ability to reject, because the subconscious mind from 0 to 5 is wide open. So all is being inundated is their box is wide open. They don't have ability to reject So they accept everything they're seeing, everything they're hearing, they're tasting, touching. Even at 0 to 9, they're picking up all the coding from the mother, the way she feels, what she hears, and they're getting all those emotions. And who are they going into? The child. And it's logging memory. Logging. And this is being stored in this filing cabinet. The environment, the city. What about the city? Let's talk about we'll say Australia, and we'll name a city. We'll say China, and we'll name a city. So all these different places, plots, circumstances, creating a degree of understanding. And even when you go all the way down on earth, let's say you were coming down, consciousness was coming in on earth, and it's rotated, whoop, it went into that little baby. All the way down to the district, all the way down to that zip code. Does that not all dictate the way this brain is going to begin to think? But the brain doesn't think. So now we start looking at all consciousness, and you see all these human bodies walking the earth, just walking. The brain has no life and power. Scientists know the minute that energy leaves the body flatlines, and the brain has no life and power because the thing that was giving it life and power is gone. So then what makes people unique? And what makes people think differently? And what makes people aspire or not to aspire? What is causing the consciousness to deviate? And they're all different. Well, we go back to the year, we go back to the time, we go back to the environment, we go back to the things that were going on in that time, we go back to the race, we go back to the religion, we go back to all of these ideas, right? That came from other people's past. And then you begin to group all those ideas and you begin to take on the world. Right? What's taking on the world? What's advancing? A consciousness, but the average consciousness that's thinking is just grouping past ideas, grouping their ideas, grouping conditions and circumstances from that time, from that era, from those people, maybe aspiring a little bit, trying to individualize itself, but it's using this group in the majority the same knowledge. They say 98% of the individual is program thinking, 2% aspiration, 2% imagination. They say the average human daily, 98% program, 2% imagination. Now, when we look at memory, you would say, how is he saying memory? Well, when we look at universal memory, this archive is the largest box in the universe. Tell me it's not so. We can go to the past and everything we've archived. I was born December 31st, 1979. Everything I came into, I was archiving and took it on as truth. And then I began to group those ideas to create my reality. All those also create beliefs about yourself, a self-image. And everything they tell you. Do you know that Edison was rejected and sent home? You know that? Yeah, they said he was mentally retarded. They said that there was no use for him to go to school. The mother turned around and she read the letter, and she told him he was too smart and they couldn't teach him. Where was Edison working? The average individual is thinking from conditions and circumstances, from what they see, hear, taste, touch, smell. And the average individual is using their brain very limited. Why? Because 98% of it was what they were told. But here we have another aspect of individuals that are tapping into an infinite field, and they're getting ideas from this memory box. Tell me it's not so. Look at everything around us today. Where did it first start? Pick up the phone. Who did that? Where did he go? Was it not imagined? Completely imagined. He was tapping into the memory of infinite intelligence. Because he's got the imagination. Take the imagination, take that particle out of a human, and what do you have? A dumb terminal. Let's go back and let's reverse 12,000 years AD. And we're standing right there, 12,000 years AD. What do you have? What is it? What do we have today? We just removed all of the evolution of the imagination in man. All we did was remove the creative imagination that has been going beyond. How many people are only consumers? Look, 98%, 95, 98. That means 3% are creating. Oh. 3% are creating new value and bringing value to the world. The rest are just consuming what they create, what they imagine. Wow. You getting it now? So when you think, who's thinking? I've had a lot of people come to these courses that say, no, I get it, or I've read it. I know. No, you don't know. If your results are not changing, you don't know this. You know about it. Why? Because there is a big difference in knowing and doing. There's a big difference in stopping that. They call this the monkey mind. Chatter, 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 chatter all day long. Taking you to nowhere or the same place over and over again. How many people do y'all know that do the same thing every day? What's running them? This, just automatic. And this is one of the hardest things to get by majority of the time because people are not aware. They think that they're thinking. But do you really think that they were thinking if they would go repeat the same day every day? Thinking they're going to go somewhere different? They're not thinking. What's thinking? The automatic nerve. They're replaying the old images, the same things, and they're traveling through time thinking that something's going to change. Nothing will change. Why? What they didn't know that they will repeat the lessons until they learn. You repeat the day until you learn. There's people for 40, 50, 60, 70 years repeating the lessons, and that's normal. Down here, down the line, comes a day they leave. There will be a day that this body flatlines, that energy is off to another place. And then it becomes aware that it was infinitely possible. It begins to become aware that it was not that, and it was using their ideas. We travel through time, but we're normally traveling into time from the past. We're using past ideas to create the future. This is why we keep replaying the same day over and over again. We think, and when you think, the average individual just goes right to what they know. And when they go right to they know, they get the image. And then they go tell the body what to do, over and over and over, thinking their life is going to change. It's not going to change because they keep replaying the same images to create the future. Life will not change. If you keep thinking, your mind is set. Listen, mindset. If your mind is set and you keep going to that archive, thinking you're going to go somewhere different, you're going into the archive of the past to create the future. Now, the people that are thinking and imagining, they may get a little step at a time, a little step at a time. We're here because y'all want a quantum leap. You're here because you want a quantum. If you're watching this, you're on Facebook, you're here not because you want to keep repeating the same day. You're tired of it. I don't want to do that anymore. I keep same amount of money, the same place, same thing, same time. Monday's here. You're here because you no longer want to take little strides anymore. You want a quantum leap. A quantum leap you got to go to the quantified field. Where all information is. But you got to go there on purpose. I learned a long time ago that when I focused on something, I would attract that. Sometimes I was not focusing and I wasn't really thinking of what I was focusing and what I was going to attract. So then I had to go back and rewrite. Well, wait a minute. If this is what I see, is that really what I want to experience? What does that mean for the next 3, 5, 10 years? Where will I be? Will I still be enjoying what I'm doing? The mind is like GPS. When you focus on something, you begin to attract those things, those ideas. This is the greatest thing that I figured out a long time ago, that if I could hone in and I could just focus on one thing with that desire, I knew that the universe would open up. As I began to focus, and this is called radioactivity. Radioactive. Whenever you start to, your desire goes root energy. We have energy centers in the body. And as these energy centers begin to light up, this desire goes beyond what you can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. You can go into infinite intelligence. These men, this is what they were doing. They were transmuting ideas. What were they doing? It was a burning desire. They were getting so heated with that thing that their consciousness was going beyond what they could see, hear, taste, touch, smell. And then it was going to a place. And as they would go to that place, they would open up these images, and as they continue to focus on those images will start to become alive. And then as those images start to become alive, they start to come, and he starts to group these ideas. And as he starts to focus on these ideas will begin to come to him. Really, this is coming here. Resonator is focusing over there, GPS, and then here comes the light back. Bam. Here's the idea, new idea. We're either going to think from the past and bring those ideas to move our body, or we're going to think from the future to bring what we want to see. Again, if we're thinking, which we are, it never stops. The mind never stops. You go to bed, it's still thinking. You're snoring, it's still imagining. The mind never stops. It ever does, we're off to another place. But here's the issue. We think that we're thinking, consciously thinking, but really what we're doing, we're just hooked up right here. This is thinking. We don't go over there. We don't go over there to get those ideas. We just keep going here, and these ideas pop up, send the message, and the body's there. You know how many times I've heard people complain, argue, fight? They're living over here in the physical world. They don't know what's happening there. Look at the physical world. I don't like this, and I don't like that, and there's not enough money, and we're suffering, and this is happening, and this is wrong. And they're looking at their outer ring thinking that it's that. Wrong. The outer ring takes shape from your vibration. We live in a unified field experience. The outer ring, we are Lord of the Rings. You're the energy vibrating. You're the one that's attracting this outer ring. This attraction is only by law. That attraction is by law. That attraction is by law. You send the energy out. It comes back from you. And I'm going to give you a stepping system, how this works. I remember going to work for peanuts. And I remember my consciousness, I started to think of labor. And I started to get these ideas of images of hard labor, because that's the way I was taught. We work hard. We work hard. I was programmed to work hard. And we do physical things. And we use our mind. And we use our body. And I remember Dad telling me, if you don't get educated, you're going to have to work with your hands. If you don't get educated, you're going to have to wear the boots of a laborer. And now, I didn't want to go to school at that time, and guess what I went and did? I'll go look for the boots. I went and bought. I remember to this day going and buying boots, steel-toe boots, and I went to go look for a job for labor. Why did I go and do that? As I'm thinking, I go to the archive. This is what I was told, and here I'm off. And then I go through, 1,400 days. Repeating the same lesson, and then I'm mad. I'm mad at the world. I'm over here, and I'm angry. I'm done. I'm working 18, 20 hours a day, and I'm riding a service truck, and I'm out in the field. And for years, I did this, 4 years, something like that. And here I'm mad at the world. It was snowing, sleet. It was sleeting, rain, water. You could take your pants off, and they could stand. And I'll never forget it, because my foot slipped, and I broke the hammer on the combine stripper. My foot slipped, and so the hammer went down, and I didn't hit it right, and it snapped, and it came back. The bill of the tire hit me in the forehead. And I remember just going back, whoop, and I went back to that little kid that was 2 years, 7 months, remembering, saying that I'm consciousness in a body. And I remember going back through all these experiences and saying, and it hit me. I did that. I'll never do it again. I remember grabbing the hammer and I chunked it. Then I went to go pick it up. I finished the job. But at that moment, I had recognized that there was a pattern happening that was not me. And I was using those ideas. I did that. I put the hammer in my hand. And I went back to that little child. I remember looking down saying, I'm in a little body. What was looking down saying it's a little body? My higher consciousness. I was aware. And then when that happened, I went back to that little child, and it's like I rewound in time back to him. And I said, never again. Now, in this process, then I started to think, well, what do I want? Some years later, I go into drilling. Years later, I go into mechanicking. Years later, I go into managing. I wanted to run the management. But every time I was focused on one thing, and then I would start to get emotionally involved with it, and then I would go and act, and I would become that thing. And here, this new world would shape itself around me. What's shaping itself? What's shaping itself? My ideas, nobody else's. Why? Because they were my ideas. I remember other people sitting right next to me, they wouldn't get my idea. Why was it I could sit right next to somebody, but I would get my idea, and they wouldn't get that idea? They were thinking about how wrong everything was, how bad things were, how much money they were earning, everything was, they were going to whatever was going on in their past, and I'm focused on what do I want to see. So what's the difference? How many people did Edison have around him that were not getting his ideas? Right next to him. Right? Now, the brain is an electronic switching station. It is a broadcasting and receiving station. So when this mind decides to intervene in its own brain and say, wait a minute, that's not where I want to go. This is where I'm going. And it begins to think, the brain begins to activate and begins to draw and begins to, what fires together, wires together. And new neural pathways begin to link up. Begin to link up. And then you're getting new ideas from infinite intelligence. And those ideas, as they link up, it brings another idea that links up, brings another idea that links up. Now, here, I can go back to my past. I've gone many, many times. I keep reprogramming. What am I reprogramming? The old ideas. I pick a new self-image. I pick a new goal, because what does a goal do for you? GPS. Radio activity. And every time I focus on a new goal, new vision, it's me. I'm over there. I'm doing that. And I make my image not only just 2D flat, I make it 3, 4, 5D. And I see it, and I walk through it, and I walk in and out of it on purpose. And I bring the ideas back. But I've done this so many times, I can go back to the tiremen. They're retired. They're still there. Some of them are already retired. I can go back to the drilling, and they stayed there. And people are still working in the drilling rigs. Then I can go to the mechanics, and I can still find them in the same place. Why? It's normal to repeat the same day. Do you know that we have teachers that repeat the same day? Do you know that our mentors from at a young age were not taught this? They learned, they went to school to go teach, not to do it. They repeat their whole existence, living the same way. Because what they're learning, they're not doing. It was for the memory of it. I've got a lot of people that come in here. Now look at this. They grab a book. We teach in a book. I've had educated people, doctors, master's degrees. They take this book and they put it in here. But what they didn't know is in your subconscious, there is a filing cabinet solely for the memory of it. They didn't know that. They'll put that store in that information, and when you put it in the highest filing cabinet, it is only for the memory of it at a distance. At a distance. You never have it. You never can express it. When we went to school, what did they teach you over and over again? Read this, and when you can memorize it, that means you got it. That's not knowing. You grade you make 100, great, but that's still not knowing. Knowing is being able to express what the literature tells you. That is knowing. So a lot of people have been educated for years thinking that they put this book in their head and they know it. No, you know about this at a distance. You never get to experience it. The people that do get to experience what they know are going to be teachers that are going to teach it. So they put the memory and they bring it a little bit lower to talk about it now. Now they can move this memory around and then they can talk about it. But if you look, they never went under 33rd vertebrae. They never went all the way to the tail to make full connection. So the book stays where? In the filing cabinet to know about it at a distance. There's a difference between the knowing and doing part. The lower 3 filing cabinets are the doing part. Look here. The lower 3 energy parts of your energy system are the doing part. When you start looking at your energy systems, the root energy is primal instinct, fight or flight. The next one is sacrum, family, reproduction, creativity. Third, solar plexus, your self-image. So this child, the reason it knows how to do everything where it came in from, because they got the 5 connections all at once. How many times did that child not do what they're told? Whack, do it anyway. So you're getting immediately in your 3 roots, you're getting the program. And that's what controls your what? What you're doing. Root is connected to your legs, right? Root, fight or flight. That's why the root energy, if there's a signal in your eyes, see something, you're like, whoa, transmit the information, bam, root, run, right? So this information, where is the information stored? Every one of your energy centers is storing information from the outside world. So when it comes to you to go try something new, and it's foreign, and it's not in your subconscious, not only is it not in your subconscious, this box, it's not in your energy centers. And whatever's not in your energy center, if you're not willing to take that vision and penetrate every energy center to light that whole body, you don't change. This is where you bring the future to the present. You see, you already have old energies. Those old ideas are trapped in these different areas. Your self-image was created, developed. As you tried different things in your life, what you were not willing to do, you didn't learn. Do it physically. What you're not willing to do, you don't learn. So what does the mind do? The mind needs order. So when you don't do your vision on purpose and act it out on purpose, the mind quickly and automatically goes back to reference the code. And guess what it does? What it knows. I've studied many years, not only to help develop myself, but really help to develop as many people as we can. I've found people come in through these classes or say, no, I know. No, you don't know. Because if you knew, you wouldn't be getting the result. This is the best reference. The results tell you what you really know. They always tell us what we know.